Becoming a full-time creator on YouTube can feel like this far-off dream, right? But getting paid for the work you do, well, that's a very real, very achievable journey. So today, let's break down that entire path, from your very first video all the way to your first paycheck, step by step.
It's a question I get all the time, and you've probably wondered about it too. And here's the thing, the answer isn't just get a ton of views. Nope, there's a specific structured process that turns your creative passion into actual money, and today we are pulling back the curtain on exactly how that works.
All right, so the very first thing you need to aim for, the first major milestone on this journey, is getting into something called the YouTube Partner Program, or YPP for short. Think of this as the official gateway. It's the key that unlocks all the tools you're going to need to start earning money directly from your content.
And look, the YPP isn't just about ads. That's probably the biggest myth out there. I mean, yes, ads are a huge part of it, for sure, but joining the program is what gives you access to things like channel memberships, super chats, and a bunch of other tools that let your most dedicated fans support you directly. So let's talk about the big one, ads. When an advertiser pays to run an ad on your video, that money gets split. The standard deal is a 55-45 split, and the good news is it's in your favor. That means you, the creator, get 55%, and YouTube takes 45%. Knowing this number is absolutely fundamental if you want to start figuring out your potential earnings.
All right, so how do you get in? This is really the first big hill you have to climb. And to make it super clear, YouTube has created a checklist with 2 different paths you can take to become eligible. Let's break down exactly what those are.
Okay, so let's look at these 2 tiers. The first one, on the left, unlocks something called fan funding. If you can hit 500 subs and either 3,000 watch hours on your long videos or 3 million views on your shorts, you can start earning from things like super thanks and channel memberships. But the main goal for most creators is on the right, unlocking ad revenue. For that, you gotta double down. 1,000 subscribers and either 4,000 watch hours or a massive 10 million shorts views.
But here's something that's really important. Just hitting those numbers isn't enough. You gotta play by the rules too. YouTube has a set of core requirements they're gonna check. You have to follow all their monetization policies, live in a country where the program is available, have a clean record with 0 community guideline strikes, and have basic security like 2-step verification turned on. These are completely non-negotiable. So, you've hit the numbers, you've followed the rules, now what? Well, now it's time to apply. And the good news is that YouTube has made this a pretty simple process that you do right inside your YouTube studio.
The whole application pretty much boils down to these 3 steps. Step 1 is the legal stuff. Yeah, I know, kind of boring, but you just gotta click through and accept the terms. Step 2, you'll connect or create a Google AdSense account. That's the system that actually handles all the payments. And finally, step 3 is the waiting game, where a real person at YouTube watches your channel to make sure it's all good to go.
Okay, listen up, because this is super important. I see this trip up so many new creators. If you've ever had a blog or another channel or anything that used AdSense before, you must use that same account. Trying to create a second one is the #1 reason applications get stuck in review for weeks or even months. You can link multiple channels to one AdSense account, so whatever you do, do not create a new one.
And then, after a few days, or let's be real, maybe a few weeks of hitting refresh over and over, you get the email, the notification you've been working for. You are officially in the program and you can start earning. But the journey isn't quite over yet. Getting accepted is awesome, but that doesn't mean the money just magically shows up in your bank account. The next critical phase is setting up the system to actually transfer the money from Google to you, and all of that happens inside your AdSense account. So, once you're in AdSense, you've got 4 main things you gotta do to get paid. First, you have to give them your tax info. Second, you have to confirm who you are and where you live. Third, you pick how you want to be paid. Most people just use a direct deposit to their bank. And finally, your earnings have to hit a certain minimum amount before they'll actually send you a payment.
And that last point, the payment threshold, is a big one. You need to know this number. In the United States, your AdSense balance has to reach at least $100 before Google will send a payment. Now, this amount can change a bit depending on your country and currency, but $100 is the standard for the US.
Okay, let's talk about the timing, because it's not like you get paid the next day. The money you earn in 1 month, let's say all of November, doesn't show up in AdSense right away. It gets finalized and sent over between the 7th and 12th of the next month, so December. Then the actual payment to your bank gets sent out later that same month.
usually between the 21st and the 26th, so there's always a bit of a lag.
All right, now for a weirdly old-school part of this whole process that catches a lot of people off guard. To verify your physical address, Google will literally mail you, like with a stamp through the postal service, a postcard with a pin on it. It's to prove you have a real address for tax reasons. This can take 2 to 4 weeks to arrive, so you gotta be patient and keep an eye on your mailbox. You cannot get paid until you enter this PIN.
All right, you did it. You're in the program, AdSense is set up, you're getting paid. Fantastic. So, we're done, right? Well, not exactly. The most successful creators know that building a truly sustainable business means thinking way beyond just the ads. Let's talk about why that's so important. Here's the thing you have to understand. AdSense revenue is, well, it's moody. It goes up, it goes down. It can swing wildly depending on the time of year, what advertisers are doing, or even just the economy in general. Relying on it as your only source of income is a recipe for a lot of stress. Real, long-term stability comes from diversifying. So, what does a healthy creator business look like? It looks more like this. Ad revenue is just one piece of the pie. The most stable creators are also getting brand sponsorships, using affiliate marketing links, and really leaning into those fan funding tools, like channel memberships and super thanks.
So, if you really want to know what your channel is worth financially speaking, there's one metric you have to know. It's called RPM, which stands for revenue per mil, or revenue per 1,000 views. The reason this number is so great is that it shows you how much you actually earn per 1,000 views after YouTube has already taken its cut. It's the most honest number you have.
So what's a typical RPM? Well, a really broad average might be around $2, but this number can be all over the place. Why? Well, think about it. A finance channel that's targeting adults in the US can have a huge RPM, maybe $20 or more, because advertisers will pay a lot to reach that audience. That's going to be way higher than, say, a gaming channel with a younger global audience. Your niche is everything.
All right, whew, that was a lot. So let's just do a quick recap of the whole journey, right? First, you grind to hit those subscriber and watch time numbers. Second, you apply through your YouTube studio and you get approved. Third, you go through every single step in AdSense to get the money flowing. And finally, you shift your mindset to building a real business by looking beyond just ads.
Look, getting that first paycheck from YouTube, it's an amazing feeling. It really is. It's proof that what you're creating has value. But it's not the finish line. The real question you should be asking yourself is, how are you going to build on this foundation to create something truly sustainable? Ad revenue is just the start. So what's your next move?